amalgam of art forms, at least in part because it is simultaneously a medium of time and also space. Films condensed and complex forms of expression also solicit a particular appreciation and understanding about that only careful writing can here required to write. Such careful writing should comprise of descriptives, interpretative, and argumentative. These kind of modes while writing we can use. Now, discussion on how to writing a film review and criticism. A movie review is in general is the option of reviewer. Here, movie reviewer we see in the newspapers. There is a end line with the opinion of the context is the opinion of the writer or a reviewer only, not by the organization. This quotation we see in the newspapers. So generally, film reviews who do by the reviewers from outside of the organization, or sometimes in the organization there is also some film review reporters, particularly who look in the film beat. So they do film reviews, even though that is not a part of the organization's opinion, that is the part of the reviewer only. Why film reviews required? The main reason for film or movie reviews written in the magazines, newspapers, or television is for one of the following reasons: to describe details of plot, acting, direction, music, technical values, and theme that make the movie worth seeing or not. Another reason to appraise the movie in terms of the reviewer's critical standards. In the cinema reviews, we generally see in the newspapers and we listen and view in the television channels. What are the components covered in the cinema review? Music. First concept is music. Earlier, some 30 years ago, music plays a vital role in every film. If the musically the cinema is success, automatically the cinema is success. In the music mix, especially for the Telugu and Indian background, Indian context movies, there is a songs plays a vital role in the movies. Background music of a scene can intensify our emotional response to the scene. For example, we see hero expressing his pathetic situation to his friends. We also hear heart-rending music being played in the background. In order to explain the caption 5 techniques, here we would like to prefer to take the references of Bahubali cinema. Bahubali is a period film, and taking that into two considerations, means two parts. The music director for the film is M.N. Keeravani. He had to really work hard on creating and ambience for the songs. He is very successful that with the help of newcomer lyricist Inaganti Sundar is the lyricist for some songs in the Bahubali cinema. So whatever it is, in Indian context, especially regional languages, the music, the songs plays very much role. If the songs were success, then automatically people think that the movie is good. Now, next coming to the another technical aspect, that is lighting. Lighting can affect the mood of a scene and can shape the way we perceive characters. Those who are often in dim or diffuse diffused light can take on shadowing, questionable, sinister, and insubstantial characteristics. Those shown in a bright light can appear to be sunny, cheerful, fresh, new, innocent, or conversely harsh, garish. All this is happens with the technique of light. Next one is the camera movements. Already we have learned about the camera movements like a tilt up, tilt down, left and right, zoom in, zoom out. All those are the general camera movements. But in coming to the film, as a now you are not a camera person. Here you are a reporter, a journalist, a cinema reporter. You are here writing a film review. So keeping these points, you are need to know about the what kind of camera. So there is a in Telugu we have a number of camera persons in film camera persons by the name. So if they did it, that job means he did one film. So everyone as a there is in their mind they thinks that the movement of camera, everything is good in particular name of the movie. It's a name by the camera person. Generally, we know the Chota Kai Naidu, one example for this. So automatically, sorry, everyone knows that is a movement, camera movement as a camera person, he do a good camera for good work for that film. So this is also one kind of a technical aspect. It also affects our response to a scene by focusing our attention on what the director wants us to see. Close-ups, if close-ups that draw us into a scene, into a character's eye and expressions. Likewise, some long shots pull away from a scene to see people responding to each other simultaneously or to place characters against a background that may be influencing them and at the other times dominate or overpower them. So it's a technical aspects all this. Camera movement again can make them seem larger than the territory that surroundings them. These are all the techniques of camera movement that make many things possible, which otherwise make the film insipid. That is not useful. Coming to the next element, that is editing. This is also one kind of a technical aspect. Editing of the film itself is a spicing. Editing the film itself is a spicing or cutting pieces of film together so that time becomes fluid the way it is in dreams, in memory, or in thought. Juxtaposes images and scenes to intensify our response to scene. So in the editing, here we need to know about the some elements. It was vital to break a shot at the right time without either delaying the tempo of the film or, on the other hand, stealing the film of its upspringness or nuances. See, we know the changes happens within the seconds, fractions of seconds, but we could not find it. It is we think that this is running text, rolling film only. Means the entire scene is captured in a single take, but there is a number of takes. But all this included by the means the editor of the film who keeps in order in a good role position. In generally, as a journalism students in the newspapers and televisions, there is the editor is the key role, key person in aspects of news. But here in the cinemas, editor is a one part of the technical person only. But here in the cinema, who is the key role? Actor or a villain, other sub actor or a producer? No, the director. The director is a main key person in the making of films, producing the films. Now coming to discuss about the another important topic is appearance. The last technique used in a filmmaking in some nothing but appearance. Because of their visual appearance only, actors are often selected for films. In the film, again I am quoting the example of Bahubali. Prabhas who plays Bahubali, and the transition of Bahubali from a man who did not fully understand his birth secret to a man who saves his mother from Ballala Deva's penal complex marked a historic journey. So when destiny gave him a chance, he made that chance his destiny. So in the film, we know there is many characters like Devasena from Devasena is one Anushka played the role, and Rajamata role by Ramya Krishna, and there is another role Kattappa, and a warrior lady like Tamanna, and villain character here is in this film like Kalikaya by Prabhakar. So all these are the appearances. These are the actors who play in the movie. So here we need to know about the techniques for writing about a film. Writing about a film does not require and great skill rather than some techniques. If you master these techniques and you have ability to present your views in a decent language, you can write about a film nicely. The following techniques you should be in master. Simple textbook essay is your first review. So first you do some textbook review as a reviewer, as a journalist, as a cinema reporter. Your first film report. So based on the review of a textbook essay, you get some idea how to do for a cinema review. Your first film report requires that you should provide information about the producer, director, actors, and characters, and other members of the film crew. Additionally, your first, uh, your first film report must contain a details. So if this is a uh, you are starting the film reviews. Once you start writing film reviews, for next film review, automatically you know how to write the film review. An effective introduction is must. Once you finish writing the description of your first film report, return to its beginning and ensure that you have an opening paragraph that catches the attention of the reader into reading your essay. This is one kind of essay only we see in the newspapers. So already you know about whenever the writing part comes, we must maintain three simple steps. Those are simply use short sentences, simple words, and easy to understand. So in a conversational style, we need to write. Support your ideas using details and examples. Use specific details about the lighting, music, editing, camera movement, and gestures, and words of actors to support the ideas you are expressing about the theme or the meaning you draw from the film. In case here, for example, you are quoting about the hero. So you may give examples of hero's previous cinemas, how he acted in the previous movie and how he is acted in the present movie, how the music in the, for example, about the music director, how his performance in the previous movie, other movie, and how his performance in the present. You are reviewing which movie. So you may give some examples, don't worry. Review the comments about editing techniques, camera movements, and lighting techniques, whether the camera movement is correct or not. There any some places there is a mistakes. So if you find it, you may quote it in your essay. And also editing, if editing is not a perfect, so you may quote it. Notice that those techniques help move the plot forward, but they also help develop the theme of the film. Avoid retelling the entire story in a film. So actually the reviewer intention is to give some gist about the plot, but not entire the story. Because if you say entire the story in the review, maybe the audience they don't visit theaters to see the film. So just we have to here give the gist of what will be, what is the character and what is the theme and what we don't disclose about the ending. Just we have to give some thrilling points only. Whether if there is an interest, the reader who visit to see the movie. Otherwise, we could not. So we could not give the entire story. We could not give the personal interaction, personal behavior of the actors. So here is we need to see the review of a film only. A regular problem that every writer, professional film critic, or college student faces when writing about a film is that films are usually narratives. They tell a story. So it is easy to write a summary of the major details of the plot. Use the present tense only. While we are writing a general newspaper, we use past tense because that is happened yesterday. But here coming to the film reviews, So don't be confused. You are not writing a film story. You are writing a film review as a journalist. Write about the film in the present tense. For example, again I am quoting the examples from the Bahubali cinema. Shivagami fights with the soldiers and saves the kid from them. So this is of course, we are using here present tense only. Of course, use the past tense if you are describing something that happened at an earlier point in the film prior to a scene that you are currently discussing. Always refer to the character, not the actor. Be cautious about this point. You have to refer the character, not the actor. When talking about the actions of a character in a film, so we must focus on the character in the film only, not by the actor. The first time you refer to the character, use the full name followed by the actor's name in a parenthesis. In subsequent references, use the character's last name unless he or she is always referred to in the film by the first name. So always not required to give the entire full name for all the from starting line to ending line. So first time we must quote the full name, the character name and the actor name. Use italics for film titles. In English, we can use this kind of italic words. In Telugu, there is no particular Telugu or regional languages. There is no italic. They don't use italic words. The italic style in the Telugu print mediums, but in English they use the italic also. When you refer to the name of the film in the writing, you should write in italics. Any Bahubali movie, for example, rather than Bahubali, if you are writing in an email document and cannot italicize the title, write it in all uppercase letters. In case in email, if you are to not change the italic format, at least you use uppercase letters. Names of song in the movies would be placed in quotational marks. The title, name of the song with the 2-3 words, you use quotational words and some icons, some dots also. So it is continuing. If you are like for movies, can alone make you a film critic. There is a one quotation by the French director Francis. He writes in his book, The Film in My Life, that anyone can be a film critic. So whether you watch movies as soon as they arrive at your local theater or wait for the video or a cable version, nowadays we have websites and DTH systems in direct to home facility in the house. Your number one reason for being a critic must be your love of movies. So be objective, compassion. Be objective means you just focus on the plot of the movie only, not by the sub-subjects. So main concept only objective. When watching a movie, be it an animation or an epic, don't be influenced by who is in it. Pay no attention to the director. Ignore any stories of rumors you might have heard about the filming of it. Be completely observed in the movie, concentrating. on the events unfolding on screen. As a film critic, if you want to use the first person, then use it right from the start. Make your opinion count and do so in a way that is forceful. Be polite, but firm, or be funny. Just make sure can handle being the I behind. So don't be here I. Don't use I. All your opinions. Even though you are the responsible for the critic, even though we don't use the letter I, means I, this is my opinion, this is my, we don't use it in the general writing. So, in case to avoid this, you just mention the other persons as a in the context of the viewers, in the context of the critics, there is a problem. Like you may mention in the writing. Comparison, to compare the current movie you are reviewing to one that is already there or has been around for dozens of years is a very common practice. This shows that you know about movies and allows people who have seen the earlier movie to know what you are writing about. Say no to assumptions. A review have a varied about distinct audience depending on your audience, whether it is a college newspaper or local daily, weekly or monthly publication or an internet website. Use your clearest style of writing. You never know who will happen to read your review. So it is must be suitable for all kind of audience. Maybe they were a student, maybe he is a teacher, maybe he is a professional in the world, he is a politician, he is a eminent person, whatever it is. So we don't say no to assumptions. Coming to the story, what is the movie about? After assigning a category such as a drama, action, or adventure, or horror, comedy, etc., you must give a synopsis of that tale. It is a man versus man saga of a gladiator movie. Man versus nature, the Jungle Book movie. Man versus supernaturals, Godzilla. So it is based on the story. The producer, a person, we need to review our critic in our writing article about the producer also. The person who is producer, the producer, a person who produces and gets the movie made is made, produce that movie. There may be more than one producer for a film. He or she has all the money, contacts, and ranges from hands off to being involved in all facets from pre-production to post-production and even publicity, even profits, losses, everything is in the point of finance. The director, already we have discussed in some time ago, the director is the main role in a film. He is behind the curtain, behind the silver screen, but director who plays. So if a cinema is success, the credit goes to the director. If the film is not success, the damage goes to the director only. So director is the ultimately is the leader. As it is well known that film is a director's medium. He is the leader behind the movie. He has numerous responsibilities that range from being invisible to being in the movie. Directors can also be hyphenates such as a director, producer, actor, director, director, screenwriter. Earlier, there is a one director, S.V. Krishna Reddy, who is a screenwriter, who is a director, who is a story writer, who is a music director. Some movies he is also he is also actor. He is also actor. So these many roles, some 2019 to some 20 years ago, there is a number of films by the S.V. Krishna Reddy. Many roles he played in that movies, behind the screen and on the screen. Analyze the hyphenate the same way you would the average one title director. So in case if we made a music director, a screenplay, a story, whatever it is, if ultimately the director is the leader, we already learned. So if we go with we discuss about the director, automatically it will be complete the entire scene. Keep in mind that this person has a huge undertaking, but often not the complete power over the project. Means that producing a film that he or she would like to have. Now coming to discuss about the actor and the actresses. We would not have a movie or much of one without the actors and actresses. A very important point to be remember is here, don't get their personal lives mixed up with what they do on screen. Analyze their performance in the relation to the story only. In the film, mention past films if appreciate as this gives the reader an opportunity to explore their earlier works. Don't be personal life, personal involvement is not included in the film review or critic. Screenwriter, toughest screenwriter is responsible for the movie plot. He is more invisible than the director and usually underappreciated. Since 1998, the writers are finally getting a title recognition for their screenplays. Earlier, before that 1998, there is no name even in the titles. When watching opening credits, you can notice that the screenwriter gets credit just before the director rather than before the producer. Screenwriting for documentaries, script writing for documentaries. Earlier we have discussed about the film reviews and critics. The part is completed. As a reporter, your part is completed for reviewing films or the critics on films. Now here as a script writing for documentaries. Documentaries also one kind of a films. In the earlier unit we learned about that one. So generally documentaries, maybe in case of a news documentary, a historical documentary or a historical events, history-oriented documentaries. That is, you are the writer, you are the reporter, you are the journalist. As a journalist, you may focus on writing in a orientation of news writing, how you are learned as a news gathering, how to gather the news, how to write it in a based on some news values. So now here we are focusing about the script writing as a script writer, as a reporter. So don't be confused for the documentaries or in a newspapers we call it is a generally the features. Sometimes for radio we call it as a news reels, radio feature films, radio features, radio documentaries, television documentaries, television features. So don't be confused. So here now again your role is as a journalist, right? Now coming to discuss about the script writing for documentaries. Scripts are often not used in documentary films because you cannot envisage what will happen when the camera is rolling. Filmmakers use treatments, proposals, or even outlines in place of a script to describe and help plan a documentary project. An effective proposal should be tell a good story, present a personal, critical perspective on some aspect of the human condition, ensure reality of humans turn up through images and not just verbal description. Talk about the soundtrack, any music, narration, etc. Reveal the target audience and have a goal or intent, purpose of that documentary film. Answer whether any media work has already been produced on this subject. If so, it is there any new or a different or interesting or engaging about your approach. It helps you to do a good documentary film. Have an answer about past similar projects undertaken to the credibility of production team and reveal how work be distributed, project history or current status of project. Usually, a proposal will contain the following information like the length of work, format style. Here we need to know about any key systemic elements in writing, shooting, audio, editing, etc. All these are the some proposals. The proposal also contains historical background or context of the story. Generally, we know what is a news item. We 5W and 1H, the news elements, those here required to give in the documentary script. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. These details need to incorporate in the script. While writing, you need to know, do some exercise. And later you prepare, you start your script writing. In general, a feature film is a film with a running time long enough to be considered the principle of sole film to film a program. In In cinema movie films, there is a 2 hours 15 minutes, 2 hours 30 minutes. But in a feature films or documentaries, there is a limited time, some 40 to 1 hour time. In this limited time, you need to give the introduction, body of the story, and conclusion. The creation, the criterion of how long the film length should be as varied according to time and place. Sometimes maybe 40 minutes, sometimes maybe 45, or up to 1 hour, not more than 1 hour in general. So you need to first craft your log line. What is log line? Log line is a one sentence summary of your story. Log line is a one sentence summary of your story. They are mostly used as a marketing tool. Your log line is the first thing you can mention as and when a studio executive asks you to give in your best pitch. Log lines also function as a helpful guide to focus on the most important aspects of your story. That is, log line helps your story stay on track. It is also helpful to put a summarizing objective, summarize, summarizing objective in front of your characters to give a sense of their personalities. So while preparing log lines, generally three elements here need to know. The photo, one is a protagonist, means generally we call it is a hero character, hero part, and an antagonist means villain character, and a goal. These are the three important elements while preparing your log line. Your first sketch. Your first sketch, the treatment of the story is also primarily a marketing document. It gives film decision-making authorities an idea of whether the story is worth considering or not. Who are the authorities means here? Maybe for feature films and documentaries, the generally the public sector units we have. In the earlier units, we discussed about the film division and some other public sector government institutions. In a private, there is a producer. Authorities means producer. If he likes it, with your first sketch, he put the money to produce that documentary. So a treatment is like a first sketch of a film. Treatments are generally 2 or 5 page summaries that break the story into 3 acts. Treatments may include snippets of dialogue and description, but the main focus is on synopsising the story. What are the three elements of treatment? The title of the film, the log line, the synopsis. Your screenplay's outline, how it should be. In this step, you mine into the structure of the story. As a Wilder said, the most important element a screenplay is its structure. Screenplay's outline is the first step, completely focused on creating the scenes. Most feature films have 40 scenes, and your job in the outline is to map out the setting and the major events of each scene. You might include major dialogue as well. Just remember your screenplay's outline is primarily for you. Write as much or as little as you need to. Structure in film writing means we are not a cinema movie like we are a documentary film or a feature film. Structure in film writing is very important. Everything else, right from the rewriting, the dialogue, the action, and the setting descriptions can be undertaken by others. If you have a solid structure to your screenplay, so you must maintain, you have to prepare a solid structure. Now discuss about the flash draft. Dear students, if you have any doubts, you may raise it now. Otherwise, you may type in the chat box. I will read it out and give you the clarifications. If you have no doubts, I will move to the next subtopic, that is a flash draft. Dear students, here we are discussing about the flash draft. What is the flash draft? Flash draft is the first real draft. Things to remember while writing the flash draft are: write quickly, don't think too hard, don't edit. Flash draft is like putting all the raw material at one place so that everything can be arranged in the next step, that is editing step. So generally we use this kind of practice in a newspaper, in journalistic writings. The next step is editing. Editing seems that your draft is complete. As with the books, it is recommend doing at least 3 drafts. After you finish your first draft, read it thorough once without editing. Key points and observations can be noted. In second draft, you can focus on major structural changes, it including filling yarning holes, deepening characters, removing characters that don't move the story forward. So in the second draft and third draft, we have to be eliminate all these items. Getting style is the next point. Decide the look, feel, and style of your documentary. Select the most benefited style for your script for documentary. What is your pre-script? First, we have to give some outline, which may also be called as a shooting script or a pre-script. Often, with the documentaries, the script cannot be written until after the footage has been shot. However, writing an outline at the beginning can be an invaluable lead to point you in the right direction, especially to be able to look back as a reference when the chaos of shooting can get you off track. Be creative and think about some unique and artistic ways you can zing your movie and give it that extra spice. Writing a script Creatively involves adding special elements such as stop motion, time lapse, animation, cartoons, recreations, etc. This is not an end to the list of creativity. Anything you can, anything unique and appeals the audience is creativity. Explore your ideas and experiments. Writing script for documentaries, the first and foremost step in writing script for documentaries is research. Once you have settled on your documentary idea, it is the time to start exploring. Explore everything and leave nothing. After undertaking the research, it should be analyzed what could be at the heart of the story and how could be the plot be like. Based on this, start creating a list of potential characters, interviews, basic storylines, areas of potential conflict and emotions. In the documentary, all the points, these elements are included in the documentaries. Here we need to know the differences between the writing for film and documentaries. Film being an audio-visual medium, writing for film, fiction or non-fiction is quite different from writing for print media. That is newspapers, magazines, weeklies, monthlies, whatever it is. There are a few distinct features of a film that a screenwriter must consider. Film is a visual. Unlike in print media, the words that are a screenwriter writes will never be ready by anyone rather than seen and heard as images and sounds on screen. Writing visually is the most important skill a screenwriter should possess. Convincing or explaining a concept in a script is worthless. If the audience cannot visualize the writing, it is an important question to be posed by a screenwriter if what he is about to write is visual in nature. Films are subjective. Now, films are visual. We have a one question. Now, film is a subjective. A subjective choice of film has been made by simply pointing the camera in a specific direction, like our eyes. The very nature of film is to focus on what is considered to be the objective on of interest and eliminate what lies behind the lens, thereby losing all sense of objectivity. Film is not only about the moving images. Most films have the elements of sound and color, even showing certain scenes in a black and white combination as a purpose in a filmmaking. So what we get as an audience, in the black and white scenes means that is a flashback. Film transcends time and space. The film does not hold on to our dimension of time and space. Once it is done, it continues to exist of its own, rising above the limits of our present lives. The screenwriter must understand what that writing for a film means, creating a being that should have a life of its own. Film repeats accurately. Film footage does not discriminate between objects, does not hide, cheat, or lie. It consistently reproduces what the camera sees in full detail. It is the filmmaker who must shoot objects in a particular way to include or eliminate details. While coming to the documentaries, no fiction in documentaries. It is an important fact that documentaries explore a non-fictional world with real events, issues, conflict, people, and emotions. Everything seen and heard on a screen is assured in accuracy and has no element of fiction. Is the documentaries flexible in nature? Unlike fictional films, documentaries have no fixed visual and conceptual guidelines per se. It is impossible to concretize events or decide on what in a one way or the other about how the film will turn out eventually. Documentaries are inherently bound to their subject matter. Documentaries documentary is inspirational. Of course, there is an issue and a message just around the corner at the epic center of a documentary. Every documentary is made with an intention of passing the message to the audience. These are some differences between the documentaries and reviews. So here for preparation of a documentary, to writing for documentary, here we need to know about the credibility. As a journalist, credibility is a prime element for us. Source credibility. The emergence of the documentary as a recognized cinematic genre. Even with the documentaries today, we are much more spectacle. Audience trust once lost is gone forever. So a documentary at the present time must always provide credible information and sources to put in a distrustful audience on though they don't think that is a truth, that is not a truth. So credibility is must for preparing documentary story. So dear students, here we are winding up this session. If you have a doubt, you may raise your question. Otherwise, we will conclude this session. Almost all important topics are covered in this season of online sessions of six online sessions. So good luck to you for your examination to the students. Thank you for watching these online sessions.